Katrina's family had forgotten to invite her to holidays for years. She bought a house and had a housewarming party. All her relatives and friends were there, except her family. A week later, they shouted, "How dare you embarrass us?" Katharina sat on her couch, scrolling through Instagram like any other Tuesday night when she saw it. Her sister Maya's latest post from Christmas showed their parents smiling by the tree. There was her older brother, Robin, with his wife, Stella, and their 2 kids opening presents. There was Maya herself, 28 and glowing, holding up some expensive-looking jewelry. The caption read, "Best Christmas ever with the fam." So grateful for these people, the family, right? Katrina was 32 years old and she wasn't there again. Just like she wasn't there for Thanksgiving 2 months ago. Just like she hadn't been there for any holiday for the past 6 years. The crazy part was that she used to be the one who organized everything. Back when she was in her 20s, she'd call everyone weeks in advance, make sure they had all the ingredients for their mother's stuffing recipe, and coordinate who was bringing what dishes. She was the family glue, or so she thought. But somewhere along the way, things changed. The invitations stopped coming. At first, she figured it was just an oversight. Maybe they thought someone else had invited her. Maybe they assumed she knew she was welcome, so she'd show up anyway, and they'd act surprised, but not unwelcoming. Then it got weird. She'd call to ask what time dinner was, and they'd give her vague answers. "Oh, we're just doing something small this year," or "We weren't sure if you'd be free." But then she'd see the photos later, full family gatherings, sometimes with extended relatives she hadn't seen in years. The worst part happened 4 years ago. She'd never forget it because it was the moment she realized what was really going on. Mother's Day was coming up and she called her mother 3 days before. "Hey, Mom. I want to come by Sunday to bring you flowers and spend some time with you." "Oh," her mother said, and there was this pause. "Well, okay. Yes, come by." Not exactly enthusiastic, but whatever. Katrina bought her mother a beautiful bouquet of white roses, her favorites, and drove the 45 minutes to their house in the suburbs. She even wore the dress her mother had complimented her on before. Nobody was home. She stood there on their front porch holding those flowers like an idiot for 15 minutes, ringing the doorbell over and over. She called her mother's cell, straight to voicemail. Called her father, same thing. Robin didn't answer either, and neither did Ma. She drove home confused and hurt, but she figured maybe there had been some emergency. Maybe someone was sick and they'd all rushed to the hospital. She kept those flowers in a vase on her kitchen table, waiting for someone to call and explain. Then Maya posted the photos. Mother's Day brunch at Romano's with the best family ever. There they all were, laughing over mimosas and eggs Benedict. Their mother was wearing a corsage, not the flowers had brought, different ones. They'd planned it. They'd made reservations. They'd all gotten dressed up and gone out together, and not one of them had thought to tell her. That's when she stopped trying. What was the point? She still sent birthday texts because she wasn't a complete monster, but she stopped calling about holidays. She stopped asking when they were getting together, and nobody noticed. Nobody called to ask where she was or why she wasn't participating anymore. Well, except for her birthday. They forgot that too every year. Robin's birthday in March. Big family dinner. Maya's in July. Pool party at their parents' house. Their mother's in February. Their father's in November. Always something special. Katharina's in September. Radio silence. Last year, her 31st birthday fell on a Saturday. She waited all day for someone to call or text. By 8 o'clock, she ordered Chinese takeout and watched Netflix alone. Around 10 o'clock, she got a text from Maya. "OMG, sorry. Happy belated birthday. Work has been crazy." Work, right? As if she'd been working on a Saturday night and just remembered her sister existed. So there she was looking at their perfect Christmas photos, and something inside her just snapped. Not in an angry way, in a clear way. Like suddenly she could see the whole picture instead of just trying to figure out what she did wrong. She didn't need this. She didn't need to keep hoping they'd remember she existed. She didn't need to keep feeling like there was something wrong with her because her own family treated her like an afterthought. She knew what she needed: her own space, her own life, her own damn Christmas tree if she wanted one. She closed Instagram and opened her contacts. Ariel Martinez had been her realtor friend since college, and she'd always told Katharina to call her when she was ready to buy. Well, guess what? She was ready. It rang 3 times before Ariel picked up. "Katrina, it's been forever. How are you?" "I'm good. Actually, I'm great. Listen, remember how you always said you'd help me find a house when I was ready? Well, I'm ready." "Seriously? That's amazing. What are you looking for?" Katharina leaned back on her couch and smiled for the first time all evening. "Something nice. Not huge, but nice. Good neighborhood. Move-in ready if possible. I've been saving for years and I've got enough for a solid down payment." They talked numbers for a few minutes. She'd been smart with money, probably because she hadn't been spending it on big family vacations or group gifts or any of the other things people with close families do. Her savings account was actually pretty impressive. After they hung up, she felt this weird lightness in her chest, like she'd been holding her breath for 6 years and finally remembered how to exhale. The next 6 weeks flew by like a dream. Ariel found her the perfect house, a little blue colonial on Maple Street that just came on the market. The owner was relocating for work and wanted to sell it fully furnished. The moment Katharina walked through that front door, she knew this was it. Big windows, updated kitchen, 2 bedrooms upstairs, and a tiny backyard with a patio. Everything was tasteful and comfortable. A soft gray couch, white wooden bed frame, even nice dishes. It was like someone had designed a life she actually wanted to live. She put in an offer that afternoon. 2 days later, it was accepted. 5 weeks after deciding to change her life, she was standing in her own house with her own keys. Her house. The word still sounded weird in her head. Katharina worked at Davidson Marketing as a senior account manager. 3 years ago, they'd promoted her to handle their biggest clients, which came with a substantial pay raise. That's how she'd managed to save so much for this house. Her family had no idea what she did for work or how well she was doing. They'd never asked. 2 weeks after moving in, she decided to have a housewarming party. She made a list of everyone who actually mattered to her. College friends, work colleagues, neighbors, extended family like her cousin Sophia and Aunt Paul. Real people who cared about her, not people who treated her like an afterthought. The one thing she didn't do was invite her immediate family. Her mother, father, Robin, Maya, none of them got a call or text. For the first time in her adult life, she was throwing a party and they weren't automatically included. Saturday arrived and her little house filled up with people talking and laughing. Uncle Frank brought his famous potato salad. Kobe showed up with champagne. Her neighbor Patricia invited her to join their book club. Around 4 o'clock, Aunt Paul pulled her aside. "Honey, this is a beautiful party," she said. "But where are your parents and Robin and Maya?" Katrina looked her right in the eye. "I didn't invite them." "Oh, did something happen?" "Yeah, for the last 6 years, they haven't invited me to any family holidays, so I decided not to invite them either." Aunt Paul's face changed completely. "Katrina, are you serious? I had no idea they weren't including you." "They weren't. It is what it is." Katrina knew Aunt Paul was the family gossip in the best way. By tomorrow, half her extended family would know exactly why she didn't invite her parents and siblings. The party went until 8 o'clock. When the last guest left, she sat on her couch in her quiet house, feeling peaceful. 3 days later, her phone started ringing. Her mother's name appeared on the screen. She let it go to voicemail. Then her father called, then Robin, then Maya. She didn't answer any of them. The text started coming next. Her mother: "How dare you embarrass us like that in front of everyone? Robin: "What the hell is wrong with you? Now all our relatives think we don't like you, Maya. Everyone's asking why we treat you differently. This is so humiliating." Katrina laughed out loud reading these messages. They weren't upset that they'd hurt her. They were upset that they got caught. She didn't respond to any of them. A few more days passed. It was Saturday morning, and Katrina was drinking coffee on her patio when there was a loud knock on her front door. She looked through the peephole and her heart sank. All four of them were standing on her doorstep. Her mother, father, Robin, and Maya. She opened the door slowly. "What do you need?" Her mother didn't even answer. She just pushed past Katharina into her house like she owned the place. The others followed her in. "What do you think you're doing?" Katharina asked, but they were already spreading out. Robin and Maya immediately started walking around, inspecting everything. Robin ran his hand along her kitchen counter. Mia peered into her living room like she was taking inventory. "Nice place," Maya said, but not like a compliment. Meanwhile, their mother started shouting. "How could you disgrace us like this, Katharina? Do you have any idea what you've done? Paul has been calling me non-stop. All our relatives are asking why we treat our children differently. They're asking why we made you an outsider." Their father nodded vigorously. "You need to call everyone back and tell them you were joking. Tell them we're a close family and you were just being dramatic." Katharina stared at them. "Why haven't you invited me to family parties for the last 6 years?" The room went quiet. Her mother's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Her father looked at the floor. "Well," her mother started mumbling something incoherent. "You don't even wish me happy birthday," Katharina said. Both her parents turned red. Robin and Maya came back from their house tour. Maya plopped down on Katrina's couch like she belonged there. "So, how do you afford this place?" she asked. "It's really nice. Must have cost a fortune. If you were interested in my life, you'd know I've been in a senior position at my company for 3 years. I earn good money." Their mother jumped back into the conversation. "Well, you never told us about your promotion. How are we supposed to know if you didn't tell us?" Katrina looked directly at her. "What's the name of the company I work for?" Silence. They all looked at each other. Her mother's eyes darted to her father. Her father looked at Robin. Robin looked at Maya. Maya examined her fingernails. None of them knew where she worked. None of them had ever asked. Katrina stood up. "I'm not going to deny anything to anyone. I'm not going to pretend we're a close-knit family when we're not." She walked to the front door and opened it wide. "Time for you to leave." Her mother's jaw dropped. "You're not even going to offer us tea. I've already done more for you than you ever did for me." Katharina said, "At least I'm letting you leave with dignity instead of leaving you standing on a doorstep with flowers like you did to me on Mother's Day." Her mother's face turned bright red. She opened her mouth to say something, then closed it again. One by one, they filed out of her house. Her father wouldn't look at her. Robin shook his head like she was the unreasonable one. Maya paused at the door. "This isn't over," she said. "Yes, it is," Katrina replied and closed the door in her face. She leaned against it for a moment, listening to them argue in her driveway before their car doors slammed and they drove away. After they left, she expected silence. She figured they'd sulk for a while and then pretend none of this ever happened, which would be fine by her. But apparently, her family didn't give up that easily. 3 days later, an email popped up in her inbox from her father. The subject line read, "Family Dinner Invitation." She almost deleted it without reading, but curiosity got the better of her. "Dear Katrina, your mother, and I would like to invite you to dinner this Sunday at 6 p.m. We'll be having pot roast and mashed potatoes. We hope you can join us. Love, Dad." It was so formal and weird, like she was a distant relative they barely knew. She deleted it without responding. The next day, Maya texted her, "Want to go shopping this weekend? There's a sale at Nordstrom, and I thought we could hang out like old times." Old times? What old times? They hadn't gone shopping together since Katrina was in college. She ignored the text. Then Robin got creative. He sent her an email with photos attached, old pictures of them as kids. There was one of him teaching her to ride a bike when she was 6 and he was 10. Another of all three of them building a snowman in the backyard. The email said, "Remember when we were close? I miss those days." Katharina stared at those photos for a long time. They did used to be close when they were little, but that was before they decided she didn't matter anymore. She didn't respond to Robin either. A week went by with more attempts. Their mother left a voicemail asking if she needed anything for her new place. Their father sent another dinner invitation. Maya tried calling twice. Katharina ignored all of it. She thought maybe they were finally getting the message when her mother showed up at her door again. This time she was alone and she looked different, smaller somehow, less angry and more desperate. "Katrina, please, can we talk? I want to apologize for everything. I know we haven't been good to you and I want to make it right." She was looking at Katharina with these sad eyes, and for a second Katrina almost felt bad for her. Almost. "It's my birthday in 2 weeks. Her mother continued. "I'm planning to celebrate at home with just family, just us. No big party, no extended relatives. I want you to be there, honey. It's important to me, just family." The words hit Katharina weird because apparently just family had meant everyone except Katrina for years now. "Please, Mom." Their mother said, "I want to rebuild our relationship. This is my chance to show you that you matter to us." She looked so sincere, so hopeful. And despite everything, she was still Katharina's mother, the woman who taught her to braid her hair and helped her with her first heartbreak. "Okay," Katrina heard herself saying. "I'll come." Her mother's face lit up like Christmas morning. She stepped forward and hugged Katrina tight, and Katrina let her. She smelled like the perfume she'd worn Katrina's whole life. And for a moment, Katharina was 8 years old again. "Thank you, sweetheart. This means everything to me." After she left, Katrina felt cautiously hopeful. Maybe they really had learned something. Maybe almost losing her completely made them realize they'd been taking her for granted. Maybe they could actually fix this. She spent the next week thinking about what gift to get her mother. She finally settled on a beautiful silk scarf from a boutique downtown. Navy blue with tiny silver stars. It cost more than she usually spent, but it felt right, like a peace offering. 3 days before her mother's birthday, Katrina was at work finishing up a client presentation when her phone rang. Aunt Paul's name popped up. "Hi, Aunt Paul. What's up?" "Oh, honey, I'm so excited. I just talked to your mother and she told me the good news." "What good news that you two made up?" "She said you're coming to her birthday party." "I'm so glad you worked things out with your family." Katharina's stomach dropped. "Party? I thought it was just going to be family dinner." "Oh, no. She's invited everyone. All the aunts and uncles, all the cousins. She said she wants to prove to everyone that you're all one big happy family again. She's been calling relatives all week, telling them how excited she is that her daughter is coming home." Katrina hung up without saying goodbye. She sat in her car in the parking garage for 20 minutes, shaking with anger. They hadn't changed at all. They didn't want to rebuild their relationship. They wanted to use her as a prop. They wanted to parade her around in front of their relatives so everyone would stop asking uncomfortable questions about why they excluded her. This whole thing was never about loving her or missing her. It was about protecting their reputation. She drove to the mall and returned her mother's gift. The saleswoman asked if there was anything wrong with it. "No," Katrina said. "It's perfect. It's just going to the wrong person." She didn't call her mother to tell her she wasn't coming. She didn't text or email or send a carrier pigeon. If her mother wanted to use her for her little show, she could wonder where her star performer was. Sunday arrived, her mother's birthday. Katrina turned off her phone at 5 o'clock and made herself a nice dinner: grilled chicken, roasted vegetables, a glass of wine. She ate on her patio and watched the sunset. At 6:30, she turned her phone back on. 15 missed calls, 7 voicemails, dozens of texts. The first voicemail was from her mother at 6:05. "Honey, where are you? Everyone's here waiting for you." The second was at 6:15. "Katrina, please call me back. People are asking where you are." By 6:45, her father was calling. "Your mother is very upset. You need to get here right now." Robin texted at 7 o'clock. "What the hell? Get your ass over here. Mom's crying." Maya, at 7:15, "Everyone's staring at us. This is so embarrassing. Just come already." At 7:30, her phone rang again. "Aunt Paul." Katrina answered this time. "Hi, Paul." "Katrina, where are you? I'm at your mother's party and everyone's wondering where you are. Your mother keeps checking her phone and looking at the door. Put the phone on speaker so everyone can hear me." There was some rustling. Then Paul's voice sounded far away. "Okay, you're on speaker. Everyone's listening." Katrina took a deep breath. "Hi everyone. I want you all to know that when my mother invited me to this party, she told me it would be just immediate family. She said it would be a small dinner with just us. She didn't mention that she was inviting all of you." She could hear murmuring in the background. "She lied to me because she wanted to use me to prove to all of you that we're a happy family, but we're not. For 6 years, they haven't invited me to a single holiday or birthday. Not one. And now they want to pretend everything's fine just to save face." The murmuring got louder. "I'm not coming tonight, and I'm not going to pretend anymore. They made their choice a long ago, and now I'm making mine. Goodbye." She hung up. Her phone immediately started ringing again, but she turned it off. She poured herself another glass of wine and sat back down on her patio. Tomorrow, Aunt Paul would probably call to tell her what happened after she hung up. But tonight, she was just going to enjoy the quiet. She slept better that night than she had in months. When she woke up Monday morning, she felt this incredible lightness, like she'd finally put down a heavy bag she'd been carrying for years. Around noon, there was a knock on her door. She peeked through the window and saw Aunt Paul standing on her porch with a casserole dish. "I brought you lunch," Paul said when Katrina opened the door. "And I wanted to tell you what happened after you hung up last night." Katrina invited her in and they sat at her kitchen table. Paul set the casserole down and looked at her seriously. "Honey, after you made that announcement, you could have heard a pin drop. Everyone just stared at your parents. Then people started asking questions." "What kind of questions?" "Uncle Frank asked your father point blank why they hadn't invited you to Christmas. Cousin Sophia wanted to know why you weren't at Thanksgiving. Your mother tried to explain, but she just kept making it worse." Paul shook her head. "She said something about how you were always busy with work. And then Robin jumped in and said, you never told them about your job promotion. So Sophia asked what company you work for. And none of them could answer. Katrina could picture the whole scene, her family scrambling to explain themselves while their relatives realized just how little they actually knew about her. What happened then? People started leaving. Uncle Frank packed up his potato salad and said he was disappointed in your parents. Sophia hugged your mother goodbye, but she looked pretty cold about it. By 8 o'clock, it was just your immediate family sitting there with a birthday cake nobody wanted to eat. Paul reached across the table and squeezed Katrina's hand. Your mother cried. She kept saying everyone misunderstood that she loves all her children equally. But honey, actions speak louder than words. I don't feel sorry for her. Katharina said, and she meant it. You shouldn't. What they did to you is wrong. And last night proved they still don't get it. They weren't trying to fix things with you. They were trying to fix their image. Paul stayed for an hour. They ate her tuna casserole and talked about everything except Katrina's family. When she left, she hugged Katrina tight. I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself, she said. You deserve better than how they treated you. Over the next few weeks, Katharina's family tried everything. They called from different numbers, thinking she wouldn't recognize them, but she knew their voices. The moment she heard Katharina, "It's Mom," or "Hey, it's your brother," she hung up immediately. They sent emails that she deleted without reading. They left voicemails that she erased. Robin even tried messaging her on LinkedIn, which was actually kind of funny. Professional networking to repair family relationships. That was a new low. 3 weeks after her mother's birthday disaster, Katrina was grocery shopping when she ran into Mrs. Patterson, her old neighbor from when she was growing up. She'd known Katharina's family for 20 years. Katharina, how are you, dear? I heard you bought a house. How exciting. I'm doing great, Mrs. Patterson. Really well. That's wonderful. You know, I saw your mother at the bank last week, and she seemed so sad. She said you two had some kind of misunderstanding. Katrina smiled politely. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was 6 years of them not including me in their lives and me finally deciding I was okay with that. Mrs. Patterson's eyes widened. Oh my. I had no idea. Most people didn't, but I'm much happier now. And it was true. She really was happier. Her house felt like home. Her job was going well. She'd just landed another big client. She'd been dating this guy Ariel from her book club and he was actually pretty great. Her life was full of people who chose to be in it, not people who treated her like an obligation. Last weekend, she'd had Sophia and her husband over for dinner. They grilled burgers on her patio and played board games until midnight. Nobody mentioned her family or asked why they weren't there. Nobody made her feel like something was missing. Because nothing was missing, she had everything she needed. Yesterday was her 33rd birthday. She took the day off work and treated herself to a spa day. When she got home that evening, her phone was full of messages from friends wishing her happy birthday. Kobe sent flowers. Her cousin Sophia called to sing to her. Ariel brought over a cake and they ate it while watching a terrible movie. Her immediate family radio silence just like every year. But this time, she didn't wait all day hoping they'd remember. She didn't check her phone every 5 minutes or feel disappointed when nothing came. She celebrated with people who actually cared about her and it was perfect. She used to think something was wrong with her. She thought she must have done something terrible to make her own family not want her around. She spent years trying to figure out what she'd done wrong, how she could fix it, how she could earn her way back into their good graces. Now she realized the problem was never her. The problem was that they decided long ago that she wasn't worth the effort. And she spent too many years accepting that judgment. But she didn't accept it anymore. She knew her worth now. And it wasn't determined by whether her parents invited her to Christmas dinner or remembered her birthday. She was building her own traditions. She was creating her own family from the people who chose to love her. And for the first time in years, she was genuinely excited about her future. Her family could keep their perfect little bubble where she didn't exist. She'd keep her imperfect, honest life where she did. Hi besties. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.